In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
And I saw her face. I'm a believer.
Shrek, what donkey? We gotta talk about your eating habits. You've been eating too many carbs. So what, donkey? Well, first of all, it's not healthy for you, Shrek. And second of all, have you ever heard of Jimmy Moore's new project called Keto Whiteboard.info?
No, I don't think so.
This virtual library of 60-second whiteboard videos explain low-carb, high-fat, ketogenic diet concepts in easy-to-understand language that even an ogre can easily understand.
Really?
Really? It's really something for keto newbies. You'll be tripping over yourselves like a babe in the woods to see these fun educational videos.
And what's the website, donkey?
That's ketowhiteboard.info. Forget the waffles. I eat keto. So in the morning, I'm making bacon and
And I
eggs.
saw her face. I'm a believer.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website, and if you'd like to engage live in the content, you got to go follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Living Low Carb Man. LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can actually engage live in the content. So thank you guys for being here today for Jimmy Rants. We also simulcast live over here on my Facebook page. And Elise wants to go to Italy with me, but sorry, Elise. So thanks for being here. I see Dr. Ken Berry came in on Jimmy Rants over on Instagram. So thank you all for being here today. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, you will need to go over to YouTube. That's where we house all the past episodes, 320-something and counting episodes over on YouTube. So type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants, you will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this year's show are in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. Yes, it's the most unique show on the internet. We go live, you can watch it on replay, you can watch it on YouTube, and you can listen as a podcast. Do you know any other crazy person who does all of that in one show? I don't think so. All of that, you guys, is at JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants is all about celebrating that keto is the hottest diet trend in the world right now. Because when I started this way back 15 years ago, the Atkins diet was kind of on the downslide. And so Atkins had been really popular. Right around 2003 was when it was at its apex. And you had low carb this, Atkins that, in products all over the place. Then Dr. Atkins had the unfortunate slip and fall where he busted his head open and it killed him. And from there, low carb started to wane. And then around 2009, we had this guy, Mark Sisson, come around, and he came up with this concept of primal. And so it started talking about ancestral eating. Then that ushered in the paleo diet, which came in with Rob Wolf and his book, The Paleo Diet, The Paleo Solution. In 2010, they started having all their conferences and all this stuff was going on. Well, keto has enjoyed that position over the past few years. And so keto is hot right now. But what we're going to talk about here today is what's the next big diet and health trend coming. And of course, people always like these trends, and they tend to focus in on these trends as like weight loss diets. And so I've been having these conversations with various people behind the scenes to kind of get a gauge of what they think the next diet trend is. And I have a very strong opinion about what I think the next one is that I'll share here in just a moment. But I was just talking with a friend, longtime friend I've known since the paleo world, just this morning. And he said, yeah, I think when keto kind of finishes up its day in the sun, I think the next big trend is plant forward. I said, plant forward? You mean like the plant-based diet, vegan, vegetarian, that kind of thing? He said, yeah, I just feel like there's so much momentum. I said, well, if you look at like the Eat Lancet Commission and you look at like all the positive stories that are put out there, you got the Beyond Meat Company and the Impossible Burger at Burger King and all of these things, I suppose the perception to people would be that it's becoming a trend. But I told him, I don't think so. I think what we're seeing with all the vegans on YouTube who are coming out and are basically saying, oops, I've got to start eating fish and eggs again because the vegan diet was killing me. I think that is killing the plant-based movement more than anything, is the fact that all the major leaders, which we did a whole Jimmy Rants on just a few weeks ago about Ravana being caught on video eating fish. And so she had to reveal to her followers, hey, look, I'm no longer vegan, but it was killing my health. I think they have a public relations nightmare going on right now in the plant-based community. So I disagreed with my friend who thinks the next big thing is plant-based. And then he said, well, what about like this flexitarian diet? I said, yeah, that's another one that's kind of out there that I don't think is going to catch on. I think the reason keto caught on so well is you had efficacy, obviously. You had people that were doing it and finding success, not just in weight loss, but in changes in their health. But it was easy to do, it tasted good, and, oh yeah, by the way, it was very solid in what it was. I think that was the public relations nightmare that paleo endured, was when you said paleo, other than real whole foods, what was paleo? Paleo could be, you could cut your carbs and do it that way, or you could eat a very high carb, lots of starchy tubers and maple syrup and honey. There was no like paleo diet, at least as a template, beyond just eat real food. So when keto came along, it put a finer point on, okay, it is a low carb, moderate protein, high fat diet that's mostly real whole foods. That's what keto is by definition. Now, obviously within that, low is going to be relative as far as carbohydrates go, depending on your carbohydrate tolerance level. Moderate, same thing. You need to figure out how much of that protein is right for your particular body's needs. And then high, as far as the fat goes, to satiety. And again, that's going to vary from person to person, but there is a template in place there. So guys, I think keto ain't going anywhere. I'm about to take a 6-month sabbatical later this year, starting in September all the way through February, and not a chance am I worried about keto going away and slowing down in any way, shape, form, or fashion. By the time I get back, it's still going to be just as strong. But that said, I do think that by the year 2021, people will have enough of keto and they'll be looking for the next trend. So, what do you think is the next big diet and health trend coming? So, diet and health, these are two different kind of things. I think from the diet perspective, what we are looking at is carnivore. I think carnivore is catching on, and of course there will be some signs later this year when there are 2 books coming out that will include a carnivore diet in them. One is Dr. Sean Baker's book called The Carnivore Diet. My friend Maria Emmerich is also coming out with a carnivore cookbook. So when those 2 books hit the market and if they explode in popularity, do not be surprised if we see the next big diet trend being a carnivore diet. And I think within carnivore, you're going to have people who can have a lot more protein on their carnivore. Then you're going to have people like myself who have thrived doing kind of a keto carnivore. And there's going to be all kinds of things. Now, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like fasting. And fasting, by the way, is one of those that has been weaved in and out through all of these trends. I don't think fasting in and of itself will become a diet trend because you do eventually have to eat. So it's not really a diet trend, but I think it weaved in and out of primal and paleo and now keto, and it most certainly will within carnivore. So I think that's where the next big trend is. But I've got this news story, you guys, from Nutra Ingredients. What makes keto neato? And in the story, they talk about the success of the ketogenic diet in our culture, but they look into the future to see what maybe they think are the big trends. So I just revealed, I think it's carnivore. I think by the year 2021, 2022, there's going to be so many people interested in an all meat diet, which is going to piss off all the Eat Lancet Commission people who have tried their darndest to vilify red meat and vilify saturated fat and make you fearful of being in a ketogenic state and being in ketosis. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Let's read this article. The high-fat, low-carb keto diet is enjoying spectacular popularity, but will it remain relevant in the years to come? The agency is called Mintel, and their food market analyst picks apart the trend, talking about keto, to advise brands on how they can innovate around it. So what they don't realize is a lot of the food companies that are now providing keto-friendly foods, back in 2015, there was this report from Credit Suisse. So if you've never heard of Credit Suisse before, they always are kind of analyzing and predicting what future trends are. 2015, they predicted that there would be high demand for high-fat foods. And it seemed so weird at the time to so many people, but I remember highlighting this and going, yeah, they're right. Because with healthy fats being promoted in a real foods-based diet, in a paleo diet, in a primal diet, and then at that time, that was 1 year after my book Keto Clarity came out, obviously in a ketogenic diet, you had all of these people starting to look for higher fat, good quality foods from the food companies. They predicted that in 2015, and what do we have here in 2019? We have lots of high-fat food options, thanks to that Credit Suisse report. So this Mintel is another one that kind of takes a look at market trends. So they're giving advice to companies about how they can keep up with the trend without being so caught up in any one trend. So let's keep reading. Global food analyst Melanie Zanazzo Barthelemy says keto is continuing its moment in the spotlight, but she recommends to brands that they remain wise to the pitfalls of basing innovation solely on a potential diet fad. Here's what she said. While it feels like an opportunity to address the interest consumers have in the keto diet, it may not be so wise to build a brand solely around this or any other potential fad diet. Keto is hot right now, but what will happen to these brands when the next on-trend diet surges into retail aisles? For instance, some food media outlets have pointed to Mediterranean, low FODMAP, and even the carnivore diet as ones to watch. So I agree on that third one. I think we've seen the trend of Mediterranean, blah. Nobody's cared about Mediterranean diet. Low FODMAP, I think they have a hard time explaining what that is. I've done a few podcasts about low FODMAP. And people, it's just a weird sounding name. They don't really know what it is, what its purpose is. It is important. Look it up, FODMAP, if you're interested. But I do think the carnivore diet's the one to watch. But this analyst is exactly right. And I've already started consulting several of the brands that make keto products that they need to get keto out of their name. And it's not that they're running away from keto, but I think the sooner you rebrand yourself as something other than having keto in the title, when keto does start to wane in the mainstream, you still have a viable product. And I've even talked to a few people who have branding of blogs and things like that. Don't put keto in it. Rebrand yourself as what you want to be when keto's not a thing anymore. And it seems so weird because right now that's what people are looking for. If you go on Instagram, you're typing in keto, trying to find people that have keto in their name. But I wonder what the value is to maybe go ahead and switch the name and get that out. Not that you're ashamed of it or anything, but if you want to remain viable beyond the keto trend, that's what you can do. Now, I got lucky. When I created my branding, Livin' La Vida Low Carb, that was back in 2005. So 15 years ago, I decided to create a brand, which started as a blog, turned into a podcast, and now you hear Livin' La Vida Low Carb, you think Jimmy Moore. And so that brand, through all the trends, has stuck. I've always been the low carb guy. When I was doing the Atkins diet, low carb. When I was doing kind of a paleo, real food-based diet, it was a low carb paleo. And now obviously as keto, low carb still, carnivore, which will be the next big diet trend within the next few years. Again, still low carb. So I got very fortunate choosing the branding that I did. But I wonder how many of these companies have keto in the title now. They're going to have buyer's regret when people are like, okay, that's so 2018 when it's 2023. So if you're just joining us, yes, keto is hot right now, but we're trying to look into the crystal ball, so to speak, of the future to look at what the next big diet and health trend is. So I'm going to continue reading in this story from Nutra Ingredients because I have a few comments to make about the next health trend that I think is coming on strong. The focus is on function. Barthélemy says food companies think about the reasons why the keto diet has become popular and then tap into those insights. Consumers are looking for more out of their foods and diets. Future diets need to go beyond just offering weight loss. Oh, I so agree with her there. Forever, we've always looked at diets solely as weight loss. And finally, how many years have we been stuck in diets mean weight loss? We now have someone articulating, consumers aren't really looking just for the weight loss benefits of foods anymore. They want the health properties. They also want functional benefits. One of the reasons keto has done so well so far is because it helps with cognitive benefits. So they're saying the reason people are turning to keto, very naturally thin people are eating keto, not because they're trying to lose weight because they don't need to, but because they're trying to help their noggin. All these biohackers that are trying to introduce like nootropics into their diet to help enhance brain health. All these people that are trying to optimize their sleep, and obviously the high-fat foods that various companies are making. These are all for the cognitive benefits that come from being on keto. And that's something that I don't think has ever been talked about before within a diet trend. Every single diet trend I've ever seen before has always been predicated on the weight loss benefit. And again, that's a great thing that's going to motivate a lot of people, but it's not the sole benefit and reason why people choose any given diet. So they're recommending, this business analyst for food companies recommend to them, call out the benefits present in your product and then let consumers decide which of the products they think will best address their needs. So if you want to target the weight loss market, then talk about all the weight loss properties of your product. If you want to target the people trying to enhance their brain function and improve their mood, then focus in on that. And what I'm hearing her say is stay in your lane. If you're trying to be a product that helps enhance satiety so that you don't feel hungry between meals, that should be your focus. Now, obviously, a lot of these products will have a multiplicity of focuses. They can help you lose weight. They can improve brain function and brain health. They can keep satiety at bay, all of these things. But it's really fascinating. Natural energy. One of the promised benefits of keto is you're going to have increase in energy. And the data from this analysis shows that boosting energy is a leading reason why consumers choose to eat healthfully. And I can tell you, since doing this keto carnivore, I'm pretty energetic already, but I've seen energy go through the roof. And so it's been pretty incredible. So I think a wise company will even now start to cater to those people who are on a ketogenic diet, obviously, but also a carnivore diet. And I think one of the major missing pieces in a lot of these kinds of diets is the electrolyte balance, which is why I love the company Keto Vitals. They have like this nice little powder that you can make or stir into a drink and drink it. You can also take pills and get your electrolytes in. This is where people start to have problems on keto, and by extension of that, also on carnivore. So I think those kind of products that are ancillary to providing the energy and keeping the energy high is going to be key. Barthélemy points out that the emerging concept of biohacking is creating new opportunities for products to help consumers boost their energy at a cellular level. I've been telling you about the Joovv Light recently. So Joovv, I've been doing the red light therapy, shining it basically on me for 20-minute sessions every single day. And I think it's provided such incredible benefits so far. I have noticed, because I'm also using another biohacking tool, my Oura Ring, O-U-R-A, I have already seen my deep sleep go way, way up since I started doing the red light. And how simple is it? How simple is it just to sit in front of a red light? We've also talked about infrared sauna. I think moving forward, kind of go ahead and give you a sneak peek of some of the health trend. The diet trend, I think, is carnivore, or at least real clean eating. The health trend, I think, is a lot of these biohacks that you've heard me talk about. Infrared sauna, ice baths, red light therapy, getting out in nature and grounding. All of these things are a huge trend. And people are finally seeing the benefit that comes from adding them into their health and their healthy lifestyle. And the sooner we realize our weight and our health is not just about our diet, is the sooner that we get healthier. And I'm 47 years old, and I want to live to 107, 117. How awesome would that be? I'd be here on Jimmy Rants. Yeah, welcome back to episode 1437. It'd be amazing. Be amazing. All right. There are different ways products can be used to support your mitochondria, the energy-producing element in cells, including ingredients designed to either generate more mitochondria, improve mitochondria function, or antioxidants to protect mitochondria DNA from damaging free radicals. One example of this is the Fire Starter organic herbal tea, which claims to increase your mitochondria count. So part of the challenge with a lot of these kind of products is that's way over the head of a lot of people. You start talking about mitochondria and function and mitochondria DNA and damaging free radicals. Most people go, they have no idea what you're talking about. And so there will be definitely an education piece at play here, that consumers will need to be educated on what this is, why it's important, and then, oh yeah, by the way, here are some things that could work. The other challenge in this is because there will be trends, there will be people trying to take advantage of the trends that have no business being involved in the trend. And I'll point to keto right now. How many keto products are out there right now that are just a bunch of crap? Let's just put it that way. Slim fast! Crap. Total and utter crap. And you need to stay away from some of those pretenders. And so I think that's where you listen to people that you trust and love and value, and listen to what they talk about and what are those companies that they put their trust in, and you go with those. Because you can get into trouble. I'll give you a prime example. When the breath ketone companies started coming out, Ketonics most prominently, the recent one is called Keto, K-E-Y-T-O. There were other pretender companies coming out with these little bitty, like $40 type of little breathalyzer type things, and they're selling a buttload of them. Well, it's a bunch of crap. It's just a blood or breath alcohol analyzer. That's it. That's all it is. It's not telling you anything about ketosis. They threw some name on there that made it look like keto, something keto, but it's not anything to do with ketosis. And so they've suckered a lot of people into spending $30, $40 on this stupid little breathalyzer thing. And that's the problem with these trends. So yes, keto is hot, but people have come in and messed it up by putting all kind of crap products out there. And the same will happen with any diet trend. There always are going to be shysters out there who are trying to see if they can make a buck. And let me tell you, when I was writing Keto Clarity, 2013, I was writing on this book. It came out in 2014. I was looking for anybody and everybody who was talking about a ketogenic diet. And I had a lot of trouble at that time finding people that taught keto. And now you've got all these so-called people online that have built up quite a following. And they're supposedly these keto experts that have always been out there. And I'm like, where were you when I was writing Keto Clarity? Why are you a thing now and you weren't a thing 5 years ago if you're such an expert on keto? It's fascinating to me. And I guess I've just been in the space for so long, 15 years. I've kind of seen how all this works. And I see these people come and go. I wonder when keto starts to wane eventually, I wonder how many of those people stick around. Will you still hear, I'm not going to name names, but you know who they are. They've just come up on the scene the last few years, couple of years, and they're suddenly keto experts. They're making a lot of videos. They're putting products out there. Please buy my product. When keto starts to slow down, what happens to those people? What happens when they're no longer making the money off of keto as a trend? Will they still be around? Jimmy Moore will be around, by the way. I'm not going anywhere. I've been around 15 years. I ain't going anywhere. This is my life. This is my passion. This is my love, educating about low-carb diets. But I wonder how many of those influencers will still be around. I would predict most would not. They're going to move on to whatever the next big thing is. And we talked about Jorge Cruz on a recent Jimmy Rants. And you can look at all the books that he's come out with. He's a Hollywood trainer. And he's come out with a book every time, taking whatever's hot in the culture, throwing it all together in a book. And, oh, look what I believe now. 3 years from now, everything that's hot at that time, all together in a book. Here, look what I believe now. Would you rather follow somebody like that who blows in the wind and never has any core values, or follow somebody that actually sticks to their guns, and if they're low carb, they stay low carb? If they're keto, they stay keto? I think so. I think that's integrity. The brain-gut connection. With consumers beginning to understand that the food has an impact on their physical and mental well-being, Barthelemy believes these aspects of the keto diet are likely to outlast other aspects. Some versions of the keto diet, specifically a clean keto, as opposed to the dirty, lazy keto, suggest that the idea of supporting brain health with nutrition will develop from this diet, and emerging research on the gut-brain connection will change the way we think about brain health and increase awareness about all the benefits of things like fiber, omega-3s, micronutrients, and mesonutrients like the active compounds within superfoods. So I think they're onto something here. One of the biggest trends that's developing slowly, and it has been since the paleo days, but it's this whole idea of gut health. We don't know enough right now about gut health, but we just know it's a thing. We know getting your gut health in order is going to be critical to your overall health. And so I think we're going to be seeing a lot of products and a lot of things within whatever the diet trend is, but within the circles of looking at your total health, gut health is going to be critical, and it's going to be heavily emphasized. I honestly believe most of our health issues today stem from a gut health dysbiosis. And getting that cleaned up, be it leaky gut, be it low stomach acid, be it whatever, getting it cleaned up is going to impact your brain. It's going to impact your energy. It's going to impact autoimmune disease. It's going to impact so many things that are having an effect on our health in a negative way today. I think once we put the focus on gut health and we teach people it's not about weight loss, it's about feeding the gut microbiome and getting that in order. This is the trend, you guys. This is what's coming. This is what's not being emphasized enough in the whole calorie debate. Oh, well, just keep your calorie. No, what about the calories that feed that gut microbiome that you don't want to feed, the bad ones? And it wreaks havoc in your body. This is why calories, I think, is going to wane more and more and more, so that people don't emphasize calories as much as quality of calories and what's gonna feed my gut. Mark my words, guys, this is all coming in the coming years. This next point is really awesome because I've been talking about this. Me and Christine did a whole Nutritional Pearls podcast recently about bioindividuality. Listen to this. Personalized diets. Recent popular diets such as gluten-free and Whole30 illustrate that people are becoming more comfortable asking what foods are right for them, and they're willing to experiment to find the best diet plan for their body. This is something that I wish the 2020 dietary guidelines would include in there, because I think the future of nutrition, the future of diet and health has everything to do with helping people and encouraging people to find the diet that's right for them. Where we've gotten into trouble is we have tried to say, this is the diet. Be it keto, be it paleo, be it Mediterranean, be it low fat, be it vegan, whatever. We say, this is the diet. And that's our fatal flaw. We should have never had monolithic teaching when it comes to nutrition and telling people what the diet is to be healthy. The diet that works for you may be different than the diet that works for me. And we've got to be okay with that. I think people are so territorial. Well, you have to do keto or you're not good. Maybe they don't need keto. Well, you better go vegan or you're going to blah, blah, blah. What if veganism doesn't work for me? I think if we put aside all of the dieting wars and my diet's better than yours, and we simply said, hey, look, here are a variety of diet options. Choose the one that works for you, and whatever you particularly choose will be the one we'll give you support for. You want to learn more about keto? Here's a book called Keto Clarity by this weirdo guy, Jimmy Moore, and Dr. Eric Westman. Read that. And blah, blah, blah. If you want to do more of a vegan diet, okay, here's the China study. Go read the China study. Here's this person, here's that person, blah, blah, blah. If you want to do paleo, okay, go read The Paleo Solution by Rob Wolf. Give people options and then give them support for their chosen option. Now, obviously, not everyone's going to find their right diet the first time they try something. But if you make them all look good, then having the vilification of one over another, how powerful would that be? And they're predicting that this whole personalized diet trend is something that's coming. And I love that. I think that is the true answer here. We've been flailing trying to find the next big diet when the next big diet is whatever works for you. And if we did that, how amazing would we turn around the health and weight of people that have been struggling for years, thinking they're doing everything right because they're doing the chosen diet, low fat generally, high healthy whole grains generally, and now they get to make a choice rather than having it chosen for them. Barthélemy argues that in the future, consumers will use technology, like the ring I'm wearing, and their growing nutritional knowledge to create diets that work for them. We're already seeing blood sugar levels, blood ketone levels, all of these things, you guys, being used as tools to determine how you're doing in your chosen diet. And that's great. And those tools are still coming. And I'm still waiting. This is going to be a key. When this comes out, at-home insulin testing, that's a game changer. That's going to change everything we always thought we knew about what diet works for us and what's the right diet. Because when people start to see visually what the foods they are eating are doing to their insulin levels, they're going to make sweet, swift changes in their diet. There's a company called Habit, a DNA-based diet company in the U.S., recently acquired by Viome, a health startup that specializes in microbiome analysis. These technologies will put the power in consumers' hands to create the diets and choose the products that will let them achieve their ideal version of health. So we have so many companies trying to help you as a consumer. And ancillary to this discussion about the next big diet and health trend is the next trend in medicine. This whole go to your doctor when you have a sniffle is going to come to an end. I don't think that's going to be the wave of the future. The wave of the future is you're going to have the power to do a lot of the testing your doctor does now and well beyond that at home. And then you're going to have the power through an app to talk to a physician over the phone. And the physician won't just be some traditionally trained medical doctor. You'll have access to more of a functional medicine type of doctor. Those of you that watched Christine talk to Dr. Gus Vickery the other day, it's the Jimmy Rants bonus episode if you want to check it out, jimmyrants.com. That's going to be the kind of testing and analysis that you're going to get moving into the future. And you're probably already seeing that your doctor isn't giving you great advice about how to be healthy. Now, if you break your arm, yes, he's helping you put it back together again. But the doctor of the future is one that's going to not just give you a pill to cover up the symptom of your chronic disease. He's actually going to get to the bottom of why you have chronic disease. And so all of this is related, you guys. Keto is definitely hot right now, and it's helping so many people lose weight and grab back their health where they didn't think they could get there again. But what's the next big diet and health trend coming? It's a lot of things happening, guys. I still think carbohydrate restriction will be at the basis of the next big diet trend. I happen to think within the next 2 to 3 years, the carnivore diet is going to be as big, or at least as close to as popular as keto is today, paleo was 4 or 5 years ago. It's going to be big. The health trend is going to be a focus more on the gut health and gut microbiome and making sure that all of those things are in order. I also think a health trend is going to be the biohacking trend, with so many people doing things like red light therapy, infrared sauna, those kinds of things. And then in the medical world, we're going to move away from going to see a traditional doctor in an office, and it's going to be all virtual online, seeing a doctor on an app. And it's going to be far more efficient than what we have now, and functional medicine will be the key there. So I know I threw a bunch of stuff at you guys here today. Thank you so much for watching this Jimmy Rant. So let's go to what you guys have to say. I'm going to start on Instagram Live. I'll come over to Facebook Live here in just a moment. Welcome in, you guys. Thanks for being here. Are you still doing the carnivore thing? Yes, I am, bruh. That's his name, bruh. It's Slaw. Yes, I'm still doing keto carnivore. Richard says the next diet trend is cannibalism. Num, num, num. Okay, buddy. You go do that now. See, yellow-eyed one, she knows carnivore is next, is what she said. You said that before I even mentioned carnivore. Tammy says fasting mimicking diet is next. I believe it's being pushed with a doctor on another group. Yeah, Dr. Walter Longo is his name. I'm not a fan. I'm thinking, why mimic fasting? Just fast. If you're going to fast, fast. Why do you need to mimic the effects? And his fasting mimicking is extremely low in calories, like 500-600 calories. I don't know that that's going to actually last. So no, I think fasting is a bigger trend than fasting mimicking. It makes me so mad when people tell me that keto is a fad diet, says Burkhart. Yeah. And then they're reinforced in articles like this. Hopefully people will become more aware and responsible for their food choices. That's a good goal, BS Bird. I agree. Let's see here. I don't think keto and keto carnivore is going anywhere. Will continue to grow internationally. Well, Tammy, I agree with you in the short term. 2019, keto ain't going anywhere. 2020, keto ain't going anywhere. 2021, keto will still be around. But I'm wondering, by 2022, 2023, will people have had enough of keto? Let me give you a little inside baseball here. So I've been writing books in the keto space for a little while, since if you count Cholesterol Clarity, I started writing that in 2012. It came out in 2013. Then I started writing on Keto Clarity, and it came out 2014. There were no books in the keto space before that. Now, there were low-carb books, obviously, but ones explicitly talking keto. Keto Clarity was the very first one to put keto in the title. And so my next book after that was the Ketogenic Cookbook, and it took off. We also did a fasting book in 2016, and the Complete Guide to Fasting with Dr. Jason Fung, and it had keto stuff in there. But the last year, I came out with the Keto Cure last April, and then Real Food Keto in November, and my next book coming in June this year is Keto Clarity Cookbook. The last two books have not done as well, sales-wise, as the ones before that, and I think part of that is the market is so flooded with so many people writing keto books now that people aren't buying them near at the level as they used to. Now, that doesn't mean people are quitting keto. It just means there's so many more options. Think about what's happened to TV ratings. Since the internet and since Netflix and since all of these other things came out, there's so many more options available for your eyeballs that we can't nearly have the number of people watching TV shows in 2019 as we did 1989, for example. when all the option was pretty much television and movies. So we've got a bit of a dilution of the market going on, which is why keto as a trend eventually people will be like, okay, what you got now? And that's just the way that these cycles work. It's not a big deal. There will be people that will continue to eat keto long after the trend is over. So don't worry about that. Val says, eat real food and what works for you. Boom. In a nutshell. In a nutshell. The next big diet trend, the bioequivalent food diet. All right, Alberto, I want you to write that one, brother. Yellow Eyed says you have to research yourself and get to know the reputable people advocating for keto and then find what works for you. Exactly. Simon says, I think you're 100% right. I've been low carb since 2002, nutritionally keto adapted since 2014. We will see many, I'm sure, start to attack it. Yeah, we have. Of course, vitamins don't absorb correctly if the gut is buggered. That's right, Simon. Alberto says, thinking a bit, you notice that everything used to lubricate and protect engines, gears, metals prone to oxidation are oils. Even the skin produces oil to protect itself. Yep. Hopefully in the near future, we as humans can sort out what diet we thrive on, starting with just eating real food and no crappy garbage. Yellow-eyed, I think that's the key. If people just got away from the industrialized, processed, refined carbohydrate model, if we got away from those kinds of foods, we'd be far healthier than we are now. Bullock in 2018 says the proper human diet according to Dr. Berry. Exactly. Can't wait for Keto Clarity Cookbook. We can't either Imperfectly Healthy. We just got back the proofs of it yesterday. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous book, and you're going to love what I did with the front matter. We got a few surprises in there that you won't expect, so look forward to that in June. All right, let's come over here to Facebook Live. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you guys for being here today. I say carnivore is next, says Melissa. Well, you're a very wise woman, Melissa, because I agree with you. Dan says, I agree. As a former vegan, it becomes obvious it's not sustainable for most as health starts to decline. Exactly. Missy says, keto is based on science. It sure is. That doesn't always sell, though, in the mainstream. Well, it's scientifically based. People are like, oh, am I going to lose weight with this? Jenny says, keto with fasting works for me. I'm already celiac, so gluten-free and carnivore works. That's awesome. Autoimmune paleo is healing for many. Yes, it is. For many people, it does help them. Can you recommend a good carnivore book? Sean Baker isn't releasing his for a few months. That's the thing, Jessica. There isn't one until Sean's book comes out. It will be the first one. His will be the Keto Clarity for carnivore. And I'll tell you, when I released Keto Clarity in 2014, it was in the midst of the paleo diet still being at its hottest. 2014 paleo ruled the roost, and they mocked me, you guys. There were a lot of people in the paleo world that were like, keto, yeah, right, yeah, keto. And I was like, it's gonna be big, guys. You should embrace this within the paleo template, and they just wouldn't have anything of it. And I think it's a big reason why paleo started to wane, because they neglected all the people that were excited about trying a ketogenic approach. And I think it could have worked very well within the paleo template because it's real whole foods, and all you're doing is telling people to cut the carbs, eat more fat, and moderate down the protein. It would have fit the paleo template perfectly, but no, they chose to mock and scorn keto, and now keto has far surpassed the popularity of paleo at its finest. Keto is far bigger than paleo ever was. But Jessica, to answer your question, there isn't one until Sean's book comes out. I recommend your books all the time. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Kimberly says, I totally agree with you. I started keto 4 years ago, couldn't find 6 websites with accurate info. Now I have to constantly redirect friends to proper, trustworthy websites on Facebook pages. My sister shocked me and had a box of Slim Fast fat bombs on her counter. I looked at her like, what the crap? She said, well, it says fat bombs. It says keto. That box around and made her read her ingredients. She was mortified when she actually looked what was in it. She trusted what the box had to say. Needless to say, big sister had to do some educating on not falling for stuff like this. Yes. That is part of the challenge of something becoming popular. Everybody and their mama gets in on the space. Keto for the rest of my life, says Melissa. Exactly. Tammy says, I think the problem with biohacking is it's not always affordable for people living paycheck to paycheck. Tammy, I disagree. I agree some of the little fancy schmancy things like Juve-Lite, yes. But the best biohack that you can do that actually puts money back in your pocket again is fasting. If you don't eat for 5 to 7 days, that is the best biohack that you could possibly do for your body. You're going to get autophagy. You're going to get so many great health benefits. So I don't buy that, well, I can't afford it. I live paycheck to paycheck. I can't afford to biohack. Yeah, you can. You just got to choose the ones that fit within what you can do and afford. And last time I checked, fasting is not only free, but it actually puts money back in your pocket because you're not spending money on food those days. And then another free thing you can do every single day is get out in sunshine. Step in the grass with your bare feet. That's called grounding. All of these things can give you great benefits, and they are part of biohacking. Now, yes, if someday you can afford to get some of the infrared sauna and red light therapy and a Muse to do your neurofeedback and things like that, that's fine, but they're not necessary for you to be biohacking. Is there such a thing as keto and carnivore stock? If there was, Jimmy Moore would have already invested in them, I promise you. Never tried paleo, says Deb, and really don't know what their diet consists of. Well, that's the problem. You don't know what they consist of because there is no one paleo diet. It's just kind of a template for real food is the base, and then you pretty much eat whatever you want within the base of real food. I think it's an incomplete diet in that aspect because some people need to be low carb, more ketogenic. Some people can get away with being more high carb. Again, all real whole foods, but they can get away with being more high carb in their diet. So it depends on what your goal is. If it weren't for you, I'd be sick. You taught me how to test my blood sugar before and postprandial. That's awesome, Yellow-Eyed. All right, guys, so the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is, yes, keto is the bomb diggity right now. It's hot and hotter than hotter than paleo ever was at its apex. But what's next? You thought about that? Yes, keto is going to be around the rest of this year, all of 2020, probably most of 2021. But by late 2021, going into 2022, 2023, are we going to see another diet trend? Could it be carnivore? Could it be vegan? No, it will not be vegan. I will predict that right now. They'll be yapping their mouths, the vegans, but it will not be the next diet trend. And then in the health realm, biohacking, in the health realm, gut health, these things all matter. And then the medical industry, seeing your doctor virtually via an app on your phone and running all your tests. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, you can engage live in the content right there on Instagram. I'm at Living Low Carb Man on Instagram Live, so go follow me there. LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live in the content, but if you missed the live, you can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours. We also go live here on Facebook Live, so thank you to all my Jimmy Rantsers here on Facebook. Woo woo! So stick around. We're going to have the Jimmy Rants after party here in just a moment. If you missed the live, watch it on replay, but after 24 hours, it does disappear from Instagram. So pop on over to YouTube. That's where we house all the past episodes for Jimmy Rants. Type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show are in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at jimmyrants.com. So until next time, Instagram, we'll see you then.